We're back. For the last 365 days, I have written every single day. In that time, I think I've come up with the perfect system to maximize my creativity, and today I want to show you how I made it, how I use it, and how it's helped me. So I'll be honest, this video has been in the works for a long time. I moved houses, I started a new design job, and just in general, things have been a little hectic. But throughout all of that, I've written daily, and it's genuinely changed the way I work as a designer and also helped me better understand myself in my personal life. I started my daily writing challenge because I found that I was relying a lot on my phone to keep track of things, and that often just felt kind of mindless and disconnected. Most of my projects start with some form of writing, whether it's like laying out expectations with a client or even just making steps to work through to an end product. But for the first year, I was writing just in a standard notebook, and I came to find that when I was out and about, I rarely had everything I needed to write. So I was always either missing a pencil or I didn't have my journal on me to write something down when I wanted to. So I was kind of going back to using my phone, and I wanted to come up with something that would be a lot more efficient and a lot more purposeful. And that brings us to this. So this is the system that I came up with to keep everything together. And I found that it's super helpful if I'm running out. I can just grab this and I have everything I need to work through creative projects, or even just like if I'm meeting with somebody and we're going over expectations, it's all here ready to go. I found this duck canvas material and I knew that would work great because it's super durable, and I also just love the color of it, love the feel of it. So it makes it more personal and, something that I enjoy interacting with every day. But I didn't just hop on a sewing machine and come up with this right away. I started with a paper prototype just to make sure that I knew what I was doing or how I would even put something like this together. I wanted to see how the different pieces would fit to make sure that this was even possible with fabric. And when I finally got that in a good spot, I moved on to using the canvas, and I burned through a ton of scraps of this stuff. I mean, I made so many prototypes that were either too small or they were just messy. I even made one that was inside out somehow. I have no idea how I managed to do that. But with all that trial and error, I finally landed at something that just works about right, and it's not perfect, but for what I need it for, it's awesome, and it's been a huge game changer. With that said, let me show you how it works. This front pocket I use to keep a couple of field notes. One of these is just like a junk journal. Anything that's in my brain ends up here in one way or another, but I don't bother keeping this organized or detailed at all, which is really nice. It's great to have a spot where like you can just brain dump, put random sketches, grocery lists. I mean, anything that comes to mind is gonna end up in here in one way or another. The other field notes I use just for stickers. Shout out to Jesse Nyberg. He's another graphic designer and YouTuber. He had the idea of throwing all the stickers he gets from different events or from friends or whatever into one spot. And it's honestly really interesting just to flip through and see some different layouts using a bunch of random stickers. I get a lot of stickers from friends and stuff, so this is definitely a fun one to have. It's honestly super dope. So that brings us to the inside, which has all the writing utensils I could ever need, as well as space for 2 full-size journals. I prefer to write in pen or marker because I don't want the pressure of editing and to be able to say, I have to go back and make sure this word is spelled right or whatever it is. The ideas just come out, and I'm not worried about how it's going to sound all together or anything like that. And for me, at least, that feels like the most pure and authentic creativity. So close. It lets the ideas flow more creatively without being able to go back and change anything. It just feels a little bit more authentic to me. And I genuinely do reach like a flow state when I'm writing with pen, where like the ideas just pour out and then I go back later and it's easier to clean up and edit from that. So the first of the 2 notebooks is just my daily journal. So in here, I keep track of the highlight of every day. I write down my long-term goals, keep track of sleep, things like that. It's definitely helped me find patterns in my day-to-day life that I otherwise might not have noticed, but this one doesn't necessarily help me with design and creative projects as much as it does just throughout my personal life. And last, but probably most useful for design, is my sketchbook. And I'm using the term sketchbook kind of loosely here because this thing is a lot more than that for me. I have different sketches of ideas, of course, but I also have video scripts, long-term plans for huge projects that I'm working on, and all kinds of stuff like that. I can't show it off too much because a lot of the things that are in here are going to end up on this channel here soon enough, but this has been the biggest help when it comes to writing and the biggest at shaping the way that I create. And so that's the system that I use. I feel like most creatives have this list of dream projects that they want to achieve. And for me, it's like almost enough just to talk about doing something. But when I'm writing things down, it's much more tactile and like feels more weighty. It definitely helps it be out in the physical world already. It feels good to cross steps off, and I'm working towards those projects in, a mostly reasonable amount of time. Another way that writing has helped me with design is I just write down every idea that I have. Most of them are horrible, right? But when I have them all out there, it's often easier for those to adapt into something new or become a good idea than it is just to think of something fresh. A lot of the times when I'm stuck in a design slump, I'll just go back and look at old ideas I had. And most of the time, that's going to jog my memory and kind of get me back in that creative flow state that everyone desires so much. Writing's also helped me just in general to be more intentional. We live in a day and age where there are so many distractions everywhere. And for me, having a daily ritual of sorts where every morning I'm sitting down, drinking my coffee, and I'm writing out my day, it just helps me kind of set the right intentions and make sure long term I'm working towards the things that I actually want to be doing, rather than just giving up endless hours on that infinite scroll. The world has gotten increasingly digital and not really for the better. And I feel like I keep seeing everyone kind of chasing this physical media or having a better relationship with the items that they use on a day-to-day basis. And making this journaling system filled that niche for me. It was super rewarding to learn a new skill and to have something to hold in my hand that I can say I created, I came up with. It's been pretty awesome. Now look, I'm not saying everybody should go on a daily writing challenge like I did, but if you're struggling to finish projects, I was in the same boat, and I feel like it's fairly obvious to say, writing has helped me. Writing is gonna help most people. For me, when I was starting this journey, I really wasn't sure, and I was kind of forcing myself to do it just to see what would happen. But as the time has gone on, I'm super happy that I stuck with it, because it truly has changed the way I work as a designer for the better. As I mentioned before, I've got a lot of huge and really exciting projects in the works that I cannot wait to share with you. But that's all I got for now. So thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.